Hi, and welcome to this new episode that I am recording with you today. Prashant, would you want to introduce yourself for the
Hi.
audience? Hi.
Yes. Hi. My name is Prashant Vadhyar. Bunty and I have known each other for a long time now. I think it's been 13, 14 years.
Yeah,
And we've even worked together on a few projects. I'm a music director by vocation. Uh, but I like to identify myself more as a father, a son, a husband, a friend, and above all, a spiritual seeker. And music is just what I do to make my ends meet. That's all. So yeah.
wonderful. You actually nailed the topic before I could tell you what it is. So, the beauty of what I've been thinking on is a topic called focus.
Right.
And while I was just taking this time before I hooked on to the net to connect with you, I thought I generally just work out the first question in my mind. That's all I
Right.
prepare for 2 or 5 minutes before the talk. What is it that,
Right.
like, what does focus bring to my mind? And I
Right.
realized that one of the struggles sometimes for me is this same thing that you mentioned, almost the same line that was running in my head, that I identify myself as a father, a son, a creative person. Uh, so I believe in social causes. I try and work for them, a
Absolutely.
speaker of sorts. So sometimes I find this compromises my focus on what I am doing a bit, because I, if I'm trying to do something, I find I don't give it full attention because uh, the other role tries to prod me into thinking something else. Uh, so
Sure.
how do you view uh, this topic of focus in today's times when we are pulled in so many directions?
Right. That's a tricky one actually, because you're right. When you try to focus on one aspect of your life, it works for some time, and then the other stuff starts encroaching into the and demanding focus. So pretty much we are all basically juggling between so many roles that we have to play.
Yes.
I think for me, the way I handle it is that I live a very, very routinized life, at least in a macro perspective. So I have, my work happens from say 9 o'clock in the morning to about 6 o'clock in the evening. And after that, I do not think about my work at all. When I say my
Oh,
work, I mean the stuff that gets me money, right? So after that, I don't think of my work, or at least I don't actively think of my work, although it might be simmering in my head at the background. But then after that, my entire focus is on my family, my children, my wife, my parents sometimes, or my friends, whoever I'm sitting with. And that's basically how I do it. Basically compartmentalize the day into blocks of time in which a block of time is dedicated to a task, so that the others don't. Yeah,
oh,
that's how I like to approach it.
okay. So I'll directly jump into the contrarian question that was running in my head. What happens on bad days? So, say for example, uh, there is a deadline that looms over. I know because I am quite looking up to you for even compartmentalizing it in your head. Forget in your life. But sometimes this morning itself, being Sunday, there is some work that has been pouring in the mail, has been showing some new jobs, and I'm already thinking,
Hmm.
oh, tomorrow is Monday. How am I going to deal with this? I was supposed to finish some work over the weekend,
Right,
but this time
right,
I tried to take the weekend as a weekend and felt guilty
right,
about it. But
right.
so how do you deal with times like those?
Times like those, when there is a crazy deadline on your head, then obviously the time you devote to work will increase and will eat into your family time. Uh, so those are the times when you expect support and understanding from your loved ones. And luckily for me, I have been able to do that whenever the time requires. Because my wife also, you know her, my wife is also in the creative line of work, and she also deals with crazy deadlines. So when one person is dealing with a crazy deadline, the other person ramps up and takes care of the other person's responsibilities in the house also. So that's
Okay.
basically it, yeah. And I mean, you've got to be moderate about it. You can't be so rigid that you say that no, I will not. Even if there's a deadline hanging on and it's 6 o'clock and you're like, nahi, bas mein abhi, I'm not going to do anymore. It doesn't work like that in our line of work. In our line of work, if there's work, you have to finish it no matter what. And at times like that, you just have to adjust basically. Yeah. You just have to adjust
Okay.
the timings and the blocks.
Uh, uh, One of the questions that comes to mind, I have known you, like you said, for a decade and a half or more. And
Yeah,
uh, I think when we were not really starting off, we met during mid career, if I were to call it that. And
sure.
those times our lifestyles were pretty crazy because I think we didn't know whether we were coming or going, sleeping or
Yeah,
eating.
yeah,
We had
yeah,
to do.
yeah, yeah.
And I would, while a lot of us would love to think that's how creatives work, I used to find it quite disturbing at times when my body used to
Hmm.
demand more rest. And yet,
Yes,
the adrenaline rush of being in a creative job kind of,
yes,
uh, we lost focus then. So, from losing focus
yes.
during those times to finding this rhythm that you have right now, what changed and why?
Uh, I realized that that kind of ad hoc style of work, that you don't have a routine, and you don't know whether you're coming or going, like you said. It had caused me a lot of stress and unhappiness and tension and all that kind of stuff, because my lifestyle wasn't regimented.
Huh?
Now, regimented, not like an army regimented, but like there has to be some
Yeah,
kind of a
yeah.
thing that you wake up at a time. And like, so what I did is I've been trying for the last 4 5 years. I have been reading up a lot of spiritual stuff, watching a lot of spiritual stuff on YouTube. And one of the key takeaways that I found out from all those readings is that you have to approach the day with the intent that I'm going to get this done at this time. I'm going to get this done. So wake up as early as you can, have a morning routine, finish all your personal stuff before the morning, so that when you hit the studio, like in my case, I hit the studio at about 9:30, 10. You're ready. You're not worried about, "Arey, I had to do this administrative job, or I had to make that payment to that guy." Uh, and the reason I did it uh, is because I was finding it so dissatisfying. The lifestyle that we were leading, you know, wake up whenever, go to sleep whenever, party 5 times a week, approach your entire life and career on a very ad hoc and very on the spot basis. So it really wasn't working for me. But over the last 4 5 years, when I have set a routine in place, I can tell you that my stress has gone down drastically,
Oh,
and I'm much more at ease. And my work has gotten much better because I'm not like, of course, I also coupled all this with things like meditation, mindfulness, all that stuff which you read about in spirituality and stuff like that. So everything combined has gotten me more grounded and more capable of approaching my day-to-day challenges in a better, more competent way than before.
okay. I'm quite intrigued because you used at least two or three terms which I would want to challenge from a new young perspective, if I were to call it that. So, say if the younger Prashant and Bunty were to be told this thing, it's not that we didn't know. We were quite well read, and if at all, I think we were supra intelligent, even then, too much
We
for
were,
our own
we
good.
were, we
But
were.
my question is, and it's a valid question, I would think, you are calling yourself a lot more competent, whereas physically or practically you're saying you've taken a back step and made it more organized. But we,
Yes,
as creatives, for a long time, had this feeling of this bursts of creativity or this intensity of working late in the night where we were pushed against the wall with unreasonable deadlines. call it money, parties, glamour, whatever it was. But I'm not even going into that direction yet. My point is that the focus was far more because the chaos kind of fed into creativity at that point of time, or so
Right.
we thought for a while.
Right.
And now you're claiming exactly otherwise. Uh,
Right.
why should I believe you now compared to when I've seen you work like that and give good results? What is the mindset change internally?
See the
As
results. Sorry, I'm sorry. Complete your question, please.
because I want to specify this because we're talking focus. So earlier when we
Hmm.
thought the focus, the result came from harnessing the chaos,
Right.
or so we thought at least.
Hmm.
And so much so that I am sure if anybody had claimed that the future Prashant and Bunty would suggest anything like we are talking about today, we would have completely rebelled against the thought.
Yes.
And we were right because we were doing quite well for ourselves within the whatever limitations of our talent. So now my question
Right.
is, how can you be more focused when you are actually not working as hard?
No, I think the question is erroneous. I am working much harder than I've ever worked in my life.
Okay.
I'm working much harder than I've ever worked in my life. It is just not at a frenzied pace with, breathing down my own neck. I have to do this now. I have to do this now. It's just that's the only difference that's gone. In terms of how it differs, yes, I mean, the results were pretty much good at that time also. And it's just that the results may have been good, but those are external things. Okay. Internally, I was a wreck.
Oh,
Internally, as a human being, as a spiritual person, as a spiritual being, as an entity, I was a wreck because I didn't know whether it's morning or night, or wake up with a hangover because of too much partying, and then get to the studio and try to do some work, and it was just too chaotic for me. What I realized along the way is that me personally, as an individual, and I don't mean to, browbeat the whole of humanity into this answer, because different people have different ways of creative, styles. Creative process that differs in different people. For me, I realized that I need to have a set, at least a basic semblance of some kind of a regimented lifestyle in which I do everything at its own time, at its own pace, which makes me blossom as a human being and lets me do all these things, be a musician, be a father, be a husband, be a son, be a friend, in a much better way than earlier, which was like, now, oh my God, I've got 5 hours, I have to finish this. Oh, now I've got 2 hours. Come on, let me go and have a party with my friends. Oh, now I've got to sleep and then I'll sleep for 3 hours. Which is very, like, you do things as they come up into your head, which didn't work for me personally, because I've realized that I need to approach life with a some kind of a timetable. Otherwise, my whole energies get dissipated, and even though I may appear to be functioning well, personally, I am disintegrating.
okay. Okay, so this leads me to a very interesting question. Was there a aha moment that happened that caused all of this? One fine day you woke up because this looks like a lot of work. But I haven't seen you in a long time, and we haven't chatted generally also on these subjects. So the jump seems like absolutely different from what you were then. What
Yes, yes,
was
it is
what
very
was
different.
the point which kind of led to this new choice of being?
Just a deep-seated dissatisfaction with life, deep-seated dissatisfaction with life, with myself, severe anxiety at all times. I've always, anyway, like as a human being, I'm prone to anxiety. I have been since I was a kid. Anxiety has been my partner forever since I can remember. So it just got so bad that I didn't know whether I was like, what I was doing. It was so like, I said like, this can't be like, this cannot be why I'm here in this world, to be this way. And then I started looking at things. I started reading up. I started searching for things on YouTube. I listened to a lot of Gyani people on YouTube. I read a lot of texts. Um I started practicing what people were recommending, and then along the way, like it got better for some time. Then again, my old habits started creeping back.
Which
Because
is
it's difficult to change someone who's lived for such a long time, and you might feel that things are changing, but then again they start creeping back because you can't make a dog's tail straight itni aasani se. So again it started creeping back. Then suddenly I found myself falling ill for no ostensible reason. And again I got deeply dissatisfied, and then I just packed up and I went to Goa, and I was there for a while. I just lay down over there, and I since then I've been very strict with my spiritual practice and the way that I lead my life. Because if I stray from this path, after a point, I just become very unhappy with myself. So I realize now that I need to, even though I may not have great days where I actually feel like, wow, I'm like, I'm floating in the air or something like that. It doesn't happen. That only happens once in a while, if you're lucky. But it's the practice which keeps you at least on neutral. It doesn't put you in the negative, and just being on neutral itself is a huge comfort.
yeah. So I have a couple of words that I want to throw at you.